Hello everyone, and welcome back to your favorite entertainment channel, YouTube. Today, we are going to review and recap a movie. This movie was a true blockbuster, one of the year's biggest hits. And did you know that this movie earned $1.48 billion in just a few months? Wow, that's a lot of money! I'm sure most of you have already seen this movie because it's extremely popular and considered a must-see film of 2022 by many. So yeah, our today's film review and recap is none other than Top Gun Maverick. Directed by Joseph Kosinski and starring Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick was a long-awaited sequel to the iconic 1986 original. The movie centers on Maverick, who is now a flight instructor for the next generation of pilots, as he tries to come to terms with his past and make peace with his own inner demons. For the second time, Maverick finds himself at odds with scowling authorities. Top Gun Maverick is ridiculously entertaining. The screenwriters tapped into nostalgia for the original while aiming for new levels. One of the reasons Maverick is now the highest-grossing film is its practical effects and lack of CGI. Oh yes, dear friends, those were really the actors flying these actual fighter planes. They paid to use real planes, and it cost the movie a pretty penny. Imagine how much money they have paid to use actual planes. Anyway, the film centers on Maverick's complex struggle as he attempts to live up to his own high standards and prove that he is still the best of the best, even with age and experience. A lot of the story is taken straight from the first Top Gun, but the action sequences are much more thrilling and immersive than in the original. Most of the scenes show breathtaking aerial sequences, and the movie captures the tension and excitement of air combat as Maverick and his students put their lives on the line for their country. It is amazing to see the progress of technology and how these aerial scenes were shot, making them even more realistic and awe-inspiring. The second movie is much more exciting, smoother, and classier. Simply put, Top Gun Maverick is brilliant and a fantastic sequel. The new characters are strong and well cast, the story has plenty of depth, the music soundtrack is amazing, and the action is superb. The aerial stuff is sensational. The references to the first movie are also well done. When he played Maverick again, Tom Cruise did a fantastic job, and Miles Teller also put in a strong performance. Another plus is Jennifer Connelly, though her part does seem a little forced in order to have a love interest. Still, her character does add a bit of emotional depth to the plot. Among the new faces, Monica Barbaro stands out the most. She brings a great deal of energy to her role and fits in perfectly with the cast. Her chemistry with the other characters is believable and engaging, which helps to make her character one of the most memorable in the film.
Surface temp rising.
Top Gun Maverick feels like a throwback to a lost era of practical movie making. The actors underwent intense flight training and flew actual planes during shooting. Val Kilmer plays the role of Iceman again, Maverick's former nemesis turned friend. Kilmer's soulful presence gives this high-flying melodrama the grounding it needs. The film was named one of the top 4 movies of 2022 by IMDb. It has an overall rating of 8.4 out of 10 and is a true blockbuster. It's no wonder that it was predicted to be the highest-grossing film of 2022, and it was, with reported earnings of $1.48 billion US. The movie also received various awards, including 29 wins and 104 nominations from various prestigious award shows, such as the Academy Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the BAFTA Awards. It's a perfect movie. From its amazing plot to its spectacular cast and production team, it is clear why this movie has been so loved by people all over the world. Everything is very well put together, good, and polite. I really think you should see this movie if you haven't already. Now let's head on to the recap of the movie. The opening text describes how the United States Navy founded a school for fighter pilots in 1969. Although it is known as Fighter Weapons School, the recruits prefer to call it Top Gun. After being on Top Gun for more than 30 years, Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell is now a test pilot for the US Navy. Maverick, played by Tom Cruise, rides his motorcycle to a base where he is scheduled for a scramjet flight demonstration. However, when he arrives at the base, he is informed that Rear Admiral Chester Hammer Kane, played by Ed Harris, is on his way to shut down the program in order to redirect funds elsewhere. Maverick is not going to be deterred by this, and he takes the jet just as Kane arrives, and he flies it into the sky, taking it past its original Mach 9 projection and hitting Mach 10 to the delight of the crew. However, Maverick tries to take off faster and ends up wrecking the jet, but he manages to eject in time. He later meets Kane, who scolds Maverick for what he did, but while he wants to have Maverick grounded, Kane instead informs him that he has been called back to Na's North Island by his former rival, Admiral Tom Iceman Kazansky. So Maverick heads to the base to meet Vice Admiral Bo Cyclone Simpson and Rear Admiral Solomon Warlock Bates. Cyclone makes it clear to Maverick that he does not see in Maverick what Ice sees in him, but he does inform Maverick of the mission that needs to be accomplished. Maverick is told to train an elite group of FA-18E/F Super Hornet pilots that Vice Admiral Cyclone Simpson and Rear Admiral Solomon Warlock Bates have put together for an important mission, bombing an illegal uranium enrichment plant in a foreign country. The plant is at the end of a canyon in a deep depression. It is protected by surface-to-air missiles and Su-57 fighters from a nearby air base. Maverick's strategy to eliminate the facility involves destroying the entrance to the facility using 2 jets before attacking the base itself. This is because the facility is at the bottom of a canyon, which makes it hard to get to. The plan is risky, and Maverick knows it, however, he also knows that it is their only chance of succeeding. Maverick goes to a bar, where he meets his ex-girlfriend Penny Benjamin for the first time since he broke up with her a long time ago. Even though she doesn't despise Maverick, she ends up making him pay for a round of drinks for everyone. The newly graduated pilots are currently drinking at the same bar as the older pilots. One of them is a young upstart Jake Hangman Saracen, who views himself as the pilot with the greatest potential to become the new group's leader. There is also Natasha Phoenix Trace, who is played by Monica Barbaro, Robert Bob Floyd, who is played by Louis Pullman, Ruben Payback Fitch, who is played by Jay Ellis, and Mickey Fanboy Garcia, who is played by Danny Ramirez. After a few moments, Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, played by Miles Teller, walks in. Rooster is the son of Maverick's deceased best friend. Following the unsuccessful use of Maverick's card, Penny as Hangman and Payback jokingly eject Maverick from the bar. Maverick is reminded of Goose as he stands outside and watches Rooster play the piano, but he is unable to rid himself of the guilt he feels over Goose's passing. The bond between Maverick and Goose was so strong, and as he watched Rooster play, Maverick felt the same pang of guilt that he had been living with since Goose's death. The next day, Maverick introduces himself to the pilots and talks with them about the mission. Hangman and Payback quickly realize that they made a mistake when they threw Maverick out of the bar that Penny owns, and learn that Maverick is now their mission trainer and a legendary Top Gun pilot. Also, as the pilots train for the mission, Hangman and Rooster start to argue. Rooster doesn't like how careless Hangman is with his wingman, and Hangman doesn't like how careful Rooster is. Maverick then continues with the dogfight exercises with the pilots, using the opportunity to show off his skills while tormenting the younger crew. Those pilots who are unable to complete their exercises successfully are made to perform push-ups. Maverick makes his way back to the bar in order to settle the debt he owes to Penny. After that, he spends the afternoon with her on her boat, and it is obvious that there is still some chemistry between them. During the subsequent set of training and drills, Maverick informs the pilots that if they fly too high, they run the risk of losing oxygen and becoming unconscious. He also reminds them of the varying heights to which they will need to travel in order to successfully complete their mission. Hangman brings up Maverick's friendship with Goose, which prompts Rooster to almost attack Hangman before the other pilots intervene and break them up. Maverick later meets with Iceman, who has throat cancer and primarily communicates by typing on a computer. Maverick expresses his concern about working with Rooster, fearing the same thing that had happened to Goose. Ice tells him he must work closely with Rooster. He talks to Maverick and tells him that the young pilots need him more than he thinks. Toward the end of the conversation, Iceman speaks with difficulty but verbalizes that Maverick needs to help and stick with their all-important mission. Cyclone steps out onto the runway to find that nobody is there. He finds that Maverick brought the pilots over to the beach to play football as a bonding exercise, which appears to work since they are all having fun. Maverick later goes out with Penny and tells her that he pulled Rooster's application because his mother asked Maverick to look after him before she passed away. After that, the pilots participate in a training exercise in which they attempt to hit the target at a specific height and within a specified amount of time. Everyone falls short of completing the task as required, leaving Phoenix in a position where she must eject from her jet before it crashes. Rooster and Maverick get into an argument because Maverick criticizes Rooster for how he manages his drills, which leads to Rooster accusing Maverick of holding him back in his flying career. They are stopped in their fight when Warlock enters the room and lets them know that Ice has passed away. A few days later, his funeral is held and all of the pilots including Maverick and Penny have attended and grieve his passing. Now that Iceman is dead, Cyclone takes Maverick off the mission training team and sets new rules that are less dangerous on the way in but more dangerous on the way out. Cyclone has decided to take over Maverick's job as the trainer. When he proposes an alternative plan, the other pilots seem to question him. However, Maverick makes an unauthorized flight of the simulated course with the original parameters, proving that it could be done. Outside, the radars detect Maverick flying his jet to complete the exercise, where he is able to fire at the target on the ground with seconds to spare, impressing all the pilots, including Hangman. Cyclone is convinced that the mission can be done, but reluctantly appoints Maverick as the strike leader. Maverick chooses the mission team and pairs himself with Phoenix and her WSO Bob, while Rooster is paired with Payback and his WSO Fanboy. Hangman and the remaining pilots are put on standby. The mission is carried out, and the team launches from the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, while the guided missile cruiser USS Leyte Gulf fires Tomahawk cruise missiles to destroy the air base near the plant and destroy the runway, causing enemy jets to scramble back toward the base. With the base destroyed, the team moves in, flying dangerously close to ground level to avoid detection. They manage to launch a missile and destroy the facility, but the enemy sends more pilots after them. They are attacked by surface-to-air missiles and a pair of patrolling Su-57 felons. When Rooster runs out of countermeasures, Maverick sacrifices his jet to protect him, which results in the pilot crashing. The remaining aircraft return to the carrier, believing Maverick had been killed in action. Against orders, Rooster has a change of heart and returns to help Maverick. Maverick is apparently alive and is running for his life as he is being fired upon by a Mi-24 helicopter gunship, but Rooster manages to shoot it down just in time. Rooster's own jet is then shot down by another surface-to-air missile, but he is able to eject in time before it crashes. Maverick and Rooster found each other again and came up with a plan for escaping the area. They are able to seize control of an F-14 Tomcat. They tried to get away to head back to the carrier, but enemy fighter planes chased after them, which eventually led to a firefight. With their aerial combat skills, Maverick and Rooster were able to shoot down the two intercepting Su-57s. However, after successfully destroying two of the enemy jets using bullets and flares, they run out of ammunition and countermeasures just as a third enemy jet approaches them. The two thought they were going to die until Hangman came and shot down the last enemy fighter plane. Maverick and Rooster are able to return successfully to the carrier, where their crew is waiting for them. Everyone was cheering as the planes returned to the carrier. As they touched the runway and exited their planes, the rest of their crew was very happy for Maverick and Rooster. Maverick and Rooster reconcile, while Rooster and Hangman now have huge respect for each other. Sometime after the mission, Maverick and Rooster are seen working together on a P-51 Mustang at a hangar near the test facility where Maverick was previously stationed. Penny then arrives with her daughter Amelia, and Maverick takes her for a ride in the P-51. Rooster walks over to a photo board and looks at a picture of their successful mission, as well as pictures of his late father and a younger Maverick. He also placed a picture of himself and Maverick next to an older photograph of Maverick and Goose. And that is our movie review and recap for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, share our videos, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Cheers!